This guide has been designed to help you farm ultimate Gley as efficiently as possible. Optimized route videos are included, as well as general tips and tricks to minimize time investment. Timestamps are provided in the description for quick referencing. With optimal play and average luck, expect to spend about 13 hours to acquire all of the required materials. This guide isn't suitable for new players. You should be comfortable with hard mode content before going for ultimate Gley. As for prerequisites, you'll need Sharen at the very least. I also recommend having a few other characters unlocked to help with Void Shard farming. I personally use Bunny, Blair, and Viessa for farming different Void Shards. If you have a non-element character, you can farm all Void Shards at the same time, but it's a lot less efficient. You'll also want to have a solid weapon, such as Thunder Cage, to make killing elites and bosses quick. Don't be afraid to catalyze your Thunder Cage. Here are the modules that I personally use for the grind, switching out the elemental attack type when required. Remember that bosses that are very weak to an element take 150% more damage. It's really worth putting on these modules. You'll be doing a lot of this grind solo, but squad up when you can efficiently. With Sharen, you'll want to switch to private lobbies, since doing reactive recon missions with others is often a recipe for disaster. Of the 4 pieces we're farming, 2 are from reactor outposts, and 2 are from infiltrations and Colossus fights. Let's start with the infiltration pieces first, which will get you Ultimate Gley's Code and Stabilizer. For the Stabilizer, we're farming pattern 76, which you'll acquire from the hard mode Sepulcher infiltration. I recommend running this with at least one other person, simply because it's a shield escort mission and mobs will make it a pain for you to regenerate and run the mission quickly. I farmed about 30 patterns with another bunny and we managed to get our times consistently below 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Given 30 seconds for resets, you'll be able to grab 24 patterns per hour. Huge tip, if you're clearing the mobs quickly, a final cluster will spawn in this area at 3 seconds. Kill them to ensure you hit the kill score. Try to run a 200% multi with no reduction to crit damage or movement impingement. You'll open pattern 76 via the Devourer. It's very weak to electric, so Bunny is great here, as well as an electric weapon attachment. A solid Perforator and Thunder Cage combo can get times here below 90 seconds pretty consistently. Even if we assume 3 minutes per clear and reset, opening 20 patterns should take an hour. The drop rate is 6%, so even if you're unlucky or somewhat inefficient, Ultimate Gley Stabilizer should take about 2 hours to farm. If you're low on Catalyst blueprints, the 20% drop rate on these patterns should feel great. For the code, we're farming pattern 58, which you'll acquire from the hard mode Slumber Valley infiltration. Running this solo is fine, but feel free to group up if it would make things go a little bit quicker. I managed to do solo runs in 8 minutes, which nets 2 patterns. If you're low on kill score, you can farm a few extra waves before the boss room by avoiding the tokens. I never had an issue hitting the target with a 200% multiplier. You'll open pattern 58 on Executioner, the first hard mode Colossus. He's very weak to Toxic, so I recommend the Toxic module on your weapons. I was able to clear him in under 4 minutes, so if you budget 5 minutes per clear and 5 minutes per pattern acquisition, this should take about 3 hours to acquire if you're on rate. For the Enhanced Cells and Spiral Catalyst, you're going to be doing outpost missions with Sharen to gather patterns. We're then going to farm Void Shards so that we can summon the Void bosses to open those patterns. Sharen will also allow us to get other patterns at the same time, so if you don't have Ultimate Lepic or Ultimate Bunny, this is a particularly advantageous double dip. You'll also grab some shape stabilizers along the way. I recommend using these as soon as you get them, since all of the patterns have a 6% drop rate for both components. Here are the modules I take on Sharen. It's important for us to maximize the duration of our invisibility so we can gather both patterns and shape stabilizers. You can do these with one duration mod, but it's exceptionally hard without recasting invisibility, which will eat into your farming time. For Ultimate Gley's Enhanced Cells, we're farming patterns 60 and 122. For her Spiral Catalyst, we're farming patterns 72 and 102. Outposts might be changed at a later date, but for now, you'll have to hop around place to place, ideally waiting no longer than 1 minute for an outpost to spawn. If you don't have Ultimate Bunny yet, you'll want to focus on patterns 122 and 72, since Sharen will also gather 123 and 73 at the same time, both of which contain different Ultimate Bunny pieces. Pattern 60 also comes with pattern 61, which contains Ultimate Lepic's code. Let's look at the 2 enhanced cell locations first. Pattern 60 is in Sterile Land Rockfall. This is the one I'd focus on if I didn't have Ultimate Lepic and you already have Ultimate Bunny. The boss is easy to kill and the infiltration is hard to fail, provided you follow the line I'm taking in this video. Pattern 122 is from Fortress Defense Line. This is the one I'd focus on if I don't have Ultimate Bunny and I want to prioritize her over Ultimate Lepic. The size of this infiltration can make it difficult to do successfully without re-invising. The boss is also a lot harder. I die here often. If you're indifferent to Ultimate Bunny pieces, skip this. Let's look at Pattern 72 for the Spiral Catalyst, which you'll find in Vespers, Lost Supply Depot. This is the one I'd focus on if I don't have Ultimate Bunny. It's also the best outpost that will farm, given its relative ease and lack of boss immunity mechanics. Pattern 102 is also an option, located in White Knight Gulch, Hatchery. You'll have to spend about 15 seconds rolling and grappling to this spot, but it's also an easy elite to kill. It's important to switch between outpost areas to check reset timers, and I'd suggest picking 2 from the get-go that you'll farm, and don't wait longer than 90 seconds for a respawn. If you care purely about getting Ultimate Gley as quickly as possible, switch between Sterile Land Rockfall and Vespers Lost Supply Depot. Once you get the pieces, you'll then alternate with the other pattern. For instance, if you drop Enhanced Cells from Pattern 60, switch to farming Pattern 102 alongside 72. You'll also want to double dip on reactive respawn timers. If you're watching this way into the future, this has probably been fixed by now. So if you don't understand what I'm saying, don't worry. If you're locked in and only farming 1 minute and below respawn timers, you can reach 40 clears per hour, which should yield you 10 patterns. With average luck, we'll need 33. So budget for around 4 hours of reactor farming to get all of your required patterns. Depending on what areas you pick, you'll have to use Void Shards to summon different Void bosses. Void Shard drop rates were buffed recently, and it's not as difficult as before to get a decent quantity at a quick pace. Monomer and Polymer are the most demanded for this run. Thankfully, they're the easiest to get. I highly recommend recruiting on the official Discord. Doing this in a party can really speed things up and makes them so simple. I also recommend overfarming, since you'll use Void Shards again in the future. If the group you're with is good and efficient, stay for a while. For Polymer Void Shards, we're going to take Viessa to Fortress, Frozen Valley. I recently posted a video on farming weapon proficiency here, and a lot of people are farming this Void Fragment as a result. Run double skill range and as much cooldown and duration as you can. With a decently structured team, you can farm over 2,000 Polymer and 500 organic shards per hour. For Monomer Void Shards, take Bunny to Fortress, Frozen Ark. This area was recently nerfed, but it's still the best spot to get Monomer Shards. A group of bunnies can reliably farm over 1,500 Monomer Shards here per hour, plus you'll get some inorganics that you might have to use for Pattern 102. Once you've got a decent stock of Void Shards, start to summon the Void bosses and open your patterns. Press L on the pattern to see where the Void boss is. It's usually always in the same zone as where you acquired the pattern. Some of these guys can be nasty, so bring your best equipment. Just remember that you can use strategic deaths to resupply your ammo and mana. Some bosses are easier than others, but I'd estimate that around 2.5 minutes is about average per clear, especially on the Spiral Catalyst bosses. On average, we'll need 90 minutes to kill the Void bosses to be on drop rate. I recommend farming about 6 patterns and then switching to another character to kill the Void bosses. You don't want to overfarm a pattern. That time is far better spent farming other patterns that you'll actually use, and if you get lucky, you'll have wasted some time. This is particularly painful when you go dry, which you're statistically likely to do on at least one of the pieces that you are farming. Once you've got all of your Ultimate Gley pieces, you might have a few extras that you'll need to farm. These are typically found in barrels located in various regions. Press F on the ingredient to see where you'll grab it from. For thermal metallic foil and cooling metallic foil, I suggest grabbing Enzo and cracking open encrypted vaults instead of trying to farm monsters for the drops. Thermal comes from Echo Swamp and cooling comes from White Knight Gulch. Here are the locations for potential vault spawns. Hop around and it shouldn't take you longer than 30 minutes to gather all that you need. And you're done. You'll have to wait a while for Gley's component pieces to finish, and it's a 36-hour wait for the character to become available, but you'll be spamming bosses with infinite ammo in no time. If you'd like to farm Ultimate Viessa or Ultimate Lepic while you wait, I have videos on those too. Thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe for more TFD videos, and let me know in the comments how long it took you to farm Ultimate Gley. Good luck and have fun.